Call signs. This is the Mission and Goals podcast. Radio check over. Hang in there, buddy. We've got you. You're not alone.
Right, and I'm just going to let you know this now. If you can't feel, you can't heal.
Yeah. So like that.
Yeah. And so you got to make peace with your past. Mm-hmm. And the best way to make peace with your past, brother, is to forgive it. To forgive every moment, every situation that happened, every person that was involved in it, everyone that crossed you at the time when you needed them, right? And you have to dig really deep and you have to forgive because otherwise you just will not break the chains. Well, I just had a mate yesterday that I served with and he was like, bro, I went to do the forgiveness thing with my mum. And he said, and he goes, mate, the pain of it as I went down to forgive. And I said, because the chain is so tight, brother. Mm-hmm. You haven't broke the chain. Mm-hmm. And it's and how do you do that sometimes? Sometimes the chain just doesn't snap. Sometimes you just got to chip away until finally it pulls itself out of the concrete. It pulls itself out of the wall. I mean, I remember when I was forgiving my father, I'd be driving down the street and I'd start to paint these scenarios in my mind. We've all done it. We all start pictures, what I should have said, what I could have done, what you did, how I should have dealt with that at the time, how I'm going to deal with you now. You're not going to do this to me anymore. What a place to put yourself into. And that would happen to me all the time for years. You know, and everyone says that, you know, that's your trigger. Well, I'm just going to tell you, yeah, it's a trigger, but it doesn't need to be. Like you can just honestly let go of that weapon. And I would literally, mate, I would pull the car over. Right there and then, I'm going to say, I'm going to forgive you, not for what you did. You have to live with you. Mm-hmm. You have to live with that pattern in your life. You have to live with what come out of that. I'm forgiving you because I'm breaking the chains for me. I'm forgiving you because I need freedom. You know.
Yeah. When you say you forgive, this is what I'm very, and especially with my dad, I have a lot of unpacked trauma that is probably the last of my trauma that I haven't unpacked yet. I'm waiting on it because it's very confronting. Are you forgiving with? Are you just saying, I forgive you? Are you feeling this deep down? Like, this is for the listeners. Like, just saying, I forgive you.
Yes.
But I say affirmations every day. When I started, I didn't feel them.
It's not going to work that way.
But now, that I'm just gaining self-confidence and all these little things, when I look at them, I'm myself in the mirror and say my affirmations.
It's a visualization exercise. Yeah, it's a visualization exercise.
Same for forgiving?
Yeah, so exercise. So forgiveness is a visualization exercise. So you close your eyes. And you take yourself back to a place of love. Because remember, projection is a reflection. Mm-hmm. So we don't see the world for how it is. We see the world for how we are.
Yeah, mirrors.
Yeah. And so when you're looking at someone, I know that my heart is predominantly filled with love now and compassion and forgiveness. In fact, I'm in a perpetual state of forgiveness all the time. I come across very difficult people. I work in hard business and, you know, and I'm not working at a small level. I'm talking federal government level. I'm talking, you know, major corporate organizations and companies. And you deal with killers, bro. Like you're dealing with big dogs. Yeah. And, they're out there for them, and I'm out there for the veterans. I'm out there for these people, and so you got to if you make yourself the center of the world, if you feel as though that your ego is involved in everything, you just won't last. And to be honest with you, mate, I wish everyone understood the power of forgiveness because we would have had a lot less suicides. You know, you got to forgive the military. You got to forgive the system. You got to forgive the people that are involved in it. You know, you hold on to that, brother, and they're getting free rent. They're getting free rent from you for the rest of your life. Yeah. And so, how do you forgive? Well, you pull your car over for starters in that situation, and what you do is you take yourself back to a place where you felt comfort and love. And I can tell you this right now, there will always be an experience for someone. I mean, Craig, you know, who works for me, he was in 11 foster homes between 10 and 14 years old. He's experienced abandonment in his entire life. I've experienced abandonment, you know, and so for me to find these moments where love was and comfort, I almost have to take myself back to moments. You know, it wasn't a consistent thing in my life. So I would take myself back to these moments. And when I finally got there, I would visualize it below my belly button. and I'd visualize it just coming up. And I would then visualize who I was angry at, right? And then I would start to feel that towards them. I'm now renewing my system with love, right? It's being renewed with love. If you just say, I forgive you, that's at the conscious level. It's not at the subconscious level. And we see everything, right? Like, you know, when you went to module 3 and I was telling you guys about subconscious is our experiences in life. And then we see through that lens into what's consciously in front of us. And so if you haven't forgiven from that, what you're going to see is a threat. You're going to see that people abandon you. You're going to see that, people are wronging you. Now, when you heal, you know that that's an option, but you're dealing with it from a place of confidence and peace. If you deal with it from fear, fear begets fear. I'm going to install fear in you with my energy. So therefore, I'm actually going to attract the situation to happen. And so, people go, misery loves company. Bro, of course it does. You're miserable. You're creating misery all around you. And the only ones that are hanging out with you is the ones that are feeling comfortable in it. Mm-hmm. So it's a visualization exercise. You've got to get yourself back to a place of love. You've got to project it towards these people. Your brain, right, this is how the enemy within works, right? So the soul whispers, but the mind screams. The mind's saying, why should I? Why? I don't have to do that. This person did that. This person never said sorry to me. Well, you should, because you're going to be, that person's coming with you for the rest of your life. You can't look at a military photo anymore. You can't look at a friend. You can't see this. Because you ain't at peace with anything. So what are we going to do from that? Then we're going to do it again. We're going to add that to the trauma. Then we're going to add the next person that wrongs you to the trauma. Mm-hmm. Bro, you got to do it anyways. Like, trauma is not our fault, but it is 100% our responsibility. Yeah. And I ask you this, generational trauma. Do you want your kids, in the future, do you want children of the future? Do you want the Australian children of the future to be walking around in a place of perpetual forgiveness? Or do you want them to go, let's go with the eye for an eye and leave the whole world blind?